Welcome to TechThings. Today we're going to be taking a quick look at the Yamaha PSR-22 keyboard. Now, I'm going to try to do a little bit of maybe a sort of restoration on it, but I can't see myself doing a whole heck of a lot with it as I don't natively play piano. Now, this particular keyboard, I bought this particular keyboard because it has the, I believe it has the YM3812 chip in it, synthesizer chip, which allows up to 9 different voices, or some percussion voices and a cut down of those 9. I'm not an expert on this technology, I'm just learning about it. But I specifically picked up this keyboard because of a couple of videos I've seen on YouTube. Basically, why I picked this keyboard up when I saw it in Goodwill is because of this particular control panel right here, the digital synthesizer. It appears to have several different voicings, different modifications can be made to the waveform, different sort of envelopes. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem to do anything. And I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. I know this section here, the bass chord section, you have to have, and I don't know if this is standard operating procedure either. So I'll turn it off, and I'll turn this to single finger and make it so that the bottom half of the keyboard, the bottom, yeah, it looks like the bottom half because this isn't a real key. The bottom half of the keyboard is all chords, so you can play along with an accompaniment. You have to turn the keyboard off and on for this to take effect or to cancel this. So, whereas I can play here, and that's another problem, is this key's dead. And I'm not a keyboardist. I'm not a pianist in any sense of the word. I can memorize parts and play them back against my own songs, but I cannot just rattle off anything on the keyboard, as I explained in a previous video. But as you can see, as I was saying before, this lower half of the keyboard is now chords. And I can adjust all of them. And it seems to work okay. It's single note only. Except, well, in manual bass it's single note and fingered. Fingered plays chords according to how you, okay. So, I'm still learning about this, but my problem is, if I switch it, so you can see here, you may not be able to see because I'm using a new tripod setup that I picked up. But I'll get close-ups to this stuff. If I get it off, it should, theoretically, I should be able to play the whole keyboard, but I'm still stuck in this mode. If I turn it off, back on, there's the farty synth sound. And right there, I got a little bit of a, I must not have hit the key enough. That's another thing I need to do, and what I'm going to do right now, well, let me finish what I was saying. This section right here doesn't seem to do anything, which is the whole reason I got the damn thing to begin with, is because I wanted, it doesn't seem to make any difference in the sound. Sustain works. Yeah, I'm pretending that I'm meaning to hit 2 keys at the same time. I want to learn, but I'm not, obviously not going to learn on this. I have a much nicer, I believe it's a Cowie, no, it's a Williams Etude a much nicer keyboard I'm trying to learn on. It's got weighted keys and velocity and everything, but this one does not. It's actually not a real nice keyboard. It's got an X pedal and an auxiliary out, a mono auxiliary out, but it looks like it balanced. There's no headphone out, strangely enough. And it did not come with the music stand. It did come with a bunch of crappy leaking batteries, which is funny because they're Duracells. Usually Duracells are, well, no, actually I take that back. Every piece of equipment I've found with Duracells, it's Energizers that I haven't had any problems with leakage. Lots and lots of equipment with Duracells I've bought with Duracell batteries leaked inside. This isn't a particularly nice keyboard. It's very creaky, but it seems to be well constructed in the keys section. It just seems to have a lot of issues. For example, pitch does not work at all. Banjo and harpsichord, that doesn't work at all. The drum section does work. It's pretty crappy sounding. I'll demonstrate it a little bit. I mean, that's about as good as I get on the piano. All of that works. I can think of some cool stuff I wouldn't mind doing with, if I jack the tempo way up, I can make some fun stuff if I produce the hell out of it, but I'm not going to be doing winning any piano competitions with this thing. I stand corrected. It does have a headphone jack, but as you can see, it has fallen into the unit. It looks like I'm going to have to do some surgery on that too, but that's kind of what I want to do now, is I want to take this apart and do a little bit of surgery on it. And this being a glass table, I'm not terribly worried about scratching it. I mean, I only picked it up for 12 bucks anyway. What I'm going to do with it is try to fix it. If it does not work, then so be it. But it won't be terribly heartbroken if it doesn't work. I apologize if the audio sounds slightly muffled, as I'm working on a single mic on the other side of the camera, which is my phone, basically. But I wanted to do a little bit of work with this and take this apart and take a look at it. I don't have any contact cleaner at the moment. I'm not terribly worried about ruining it because it's a $12 keyboard. It's basically a junk sort of keyboard that's fun to dick around with because of the YM3812 chip inside of it. And if I can't get the feature I want to work, I'm just not going to fool with it any longer. I might keep it, hang on to it, and see if maybe I stumble upon a donor keyboard. Strangely, it looked like it had a music rest embedded in it, because you can see the outline and it's got this instruction. Music rest can be removed by sliding it in the direction of the arrow. That does not appear to be a part of this unit any longer. You can feel the looseness of it. A couple of these screws are already slightly loose. That explains the crinkly nature, creaky nature of this board. Not having a magnetic screwdriver slightly. So, try to get these screws out. Oh, that's not good. A couple of them are longer than the others. It should be fairly easy to tell which ones. Don't do that. That's not right. Some of these didn't want to come out. Out, right here. I can see this stuff. There we go. It looks like the edge ones are the long ones. It's not a big deal. I don't even know if anybody's watching this stuff because I'm putting up these videos, and it looks like most people stop watching around 5 minutes. So I may just be doing this for my own enjoyment, which is fine. Maybe somebody will stumble onto these videos and be like, hey, this is really interesting stuff. In my dreams, I guess, but don't mind. I like doing it. Scratch the keys. I think it's open. This is, I've never really fooled with these before, so I'm learning as I go. If anybody knows how these go together, they're probably cringing. Okay, that's basically what I expected, judging from the videos I've seen on YouTube. I have been watching some videos about these things, so carefully undo these ribbon cables and to pop up sockets. Yeah. Ooh, okay. Be careful with those. Interestingly, these sockets with just wires at the end of them, but the actual, that isn't part of this. Okay. All right. There's some things on this board as well. So not get too excited over here. This was not, take special note of that. It looks like this particular one has 3 pins, and green on the left. In the middle is, what is that? Just white, looks like, and blue on, or orange on the right. And it's already coming loose, so I need to make sure that goes back the same way it came out, rather. This one out of the ground, which unscrews, which that's rather loose. That, I don't know if that's part of the problem, but it's always good to have ground nice and tight. Doesn't look like there's any corrosion, which is good. It doesn't mean there wasn't liquid spilled into this part, which is the whole reason I'm basically taking it apart, is to check out if there's any corrosion. I don't see any corrosion from the battery tray, so that's good. Lots and lots of generalized nastiness, though, if you can see and hear. Just kind of grossness. Yeah. So set this aside. Well, I'll take a look at the board real quick, actually, rather than set it straight aside. You can see here the Yamaha YM3812. There we go. This wasn't listed anywhere. This particular model was not listed anywhere, but there it is, the YM3812, which is why I wanted this one to begin with. That actually makes me pretty happy to see that, because I thought this might be one of the cost reduced, but I didn't. That fear was allayed when I played the 9 different notes at the same time, and I realized then it had to be the 98 or 3812 and not a cost reduced derivative. Taking a look here at the what appears to be a date stamp, it looks like it was made in July of '87, according to this crude looking date stamp. I would assume that these are production months of some factory. If I'm reading it correctly, July of '87 is when this keyboard was manufactured, so that's pretty neat. This key right here, you can see that, corresponds to this particular contact on the board. If there was a jump, it was because there was quite a bit of, it was out of focus for a moment, so I cut a little bit out. Sorry about that. Not much I can do about it. I don't have a professional setup yet. I'm hoping if this takes any interest is shown in it, I'll continue doing it, but hey, at this point I'm just having fun. What I'm going to do is probably take these 2 things off. Like there's little resistors on each key, or in the vicinity of each key. I'm guessing these are resistors. I'm not an electrical engineer. I could figure out what they are if I did some research. My motto is, if I don't know it, I'll figure it out. That's kind of the way I work. Interestingly enough, what I'm going to do right now, though, is try to see how this comes off. Does it lift up like the others, or is this a socket? Or where does it go? Can I remove it from here? Yeah, I'm just going to remove this particular piece right here. This is pretty far to the other side of the bench. My bench, if you can call it that. It's a glass table with a whole bunch of random crap on it. But I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing. Not that's all right. I'm removing a little board right here so that I can remove all of these fiddly little screws and get it the other side of this control board. I'm hoping that there's some obvious corrosion on the keys and sliders so that I can alleviate that while I've got this part at the moment. I should probably, speaking of sliders, pull these off so they don't go flying everywhere when I remove that board. If they do indeed, yeah, they do come off. I figured they would just come off. I'm not looking forward to taking all these buttons out, but I've made my bed, so I might as well sleep in it. Screwdriver cases provide a good fill-in key. That's what that little board was for the fill-in key, which does work. So I'm assuming there's two boards and it splits here. I'm assuming this board has some sort of problem. This particular button does not work in the least. There are little dust bunnies behind each one of these sliders. So what I'll probably do is on Friday I'll pick up some contact cleaner. This being Wednesday right now. Referring to days in these videos is stupid because you're going to be watching this on a Saturday or a Tuesday. So I will play the rookie card on that one. And I'm not trying to make an hour-long video out of this because my last couple have been hour-long debacles, and I'm hoping to keep this one pretty simple. Remove this board, take a look at it, sign off. Remains to be seen as to whether or not that works. Looks like this board is fairly well labeled. Looks like all these screws are pretty much the same. The shorter ones are very obviously the same. Interchangeable, which is good. So, I don't usually get this involved in this. The only reason I'm doing this is because of that chip, and because I want to play with the waveforms. Another reason is my son really likes Sonic the Hedgehog. He loves the music. And I'm really kind of hoping to make this, get this to make some really cool sounds that he'll think is really keen. My idea of doing multiple screws at one time has led me askew as one has dropped between the board and this key. But I think I can get it out again. Just trying to be careful not to short anything important out. These screws are pretty coarse. They're not terribly fun, so I'm not worried about stripping anything. And they come out really quick. Interesting. They've got little boundary screws here that hold the edge of the board up. Just makes sense, I guess, if there are buttons right here that look like there are. This is the good board. This one should not have any obvious corrosion on it because this is the one that everything works on. There's all the buttons. That would make sense. So, we take a look here. Yes, I know my battery's low. We can see refocus, there we go. These are the tracks that the sliders rest on. They're pretty damn dirty. I think some contact cleaning would help them quite a bit, and the buttons look alright, the button contacts. They look pretty decent, but I'll probably still clean them with contact cleaner. The rest of these switches, yeah, they're pretty beat up. Looks like a well-loved keyboard. Let's put this up here. Contact cleaned. And if I play my cards right, well, I will probably soak these because that looks pretty gnarly right here. You can see the nastiness, and it's dirt. It's nasty dirt. So let me refocus that. Set all these aside. Make sure there's nothing. Oh, okay. Hang on. Let's hold our horses here a little bit. These have little ball bearings. I thought I heard something pop out, and I did. Little tiny ball bearings, if you can even see that. Can you? Yes, you can. Focus. Yeah, there they are. Ball bearings inside those. So let's take some caution here. Where the hell did it? And it probably rests right underneath of these tracks. Well, no, I can't even tell. They're so dirty. But I see where the ball bearing fell out into this, so let's just set that in there. Are they on the side? No. Okay, well, let's take another one out. See where it goes. I'm trying to drop it, dislodge it real easy. I don't even see it here. Oh, it came out. Okay, I think I see. It's got little. It goes in the side because there's a little spring right here. You can see right there, the little ball bearing rests in that little hole, and there's a spring in there, so it keeps tension on the rails right here, which gives it the detents, which makes, actually that's a pretty neat, nifty little design because it feels very precise. So as long as I keep all the ball bearings together with the different, which I'm doing a really bang up job so far because each one is falling out in a different spot. This particular one is falling out inside the track. And I'm going to carefully try to, there we go, remove it. And 17 minutes so far, according to the counter. Let's take a look. One of these screws has come out and stuck to the speaker magnet on the right speaker, which is useful. It comes in handy. I'm really not looking forward to taking this out. I don't care enough about this thing to take every single key out and clean it. I will probably just take some canned air and shoot it through. And honestly, I don't have the patience to take every single key out and clean it. I will take some compressed air and blow out the bottom of it, and I will take probably a toothbrush and clean between the keys, along with compressed air, because it's just not. This project is not worth getting that deep into for me. This is very much, if I had emotional attachment to keyboards, if I played the keyboards, I would probably have a lot more, I would probably be a lot more inclined to do that. But this being a hobby that I'm sort of cultivating, I'm more interested in the mechanical, I'm more interested in the technology behind it. I find it really cool that they put a Sound Blaster chip inside a keyboard, and you can make those sorts of sounds with it. And this keyboard being one that I found organically on my own, rather than seeking out, is cool to me. And I was able to find that on my own. Now, this I probably will not bother taking out, but it's this. This is various and sundry. This is the main power switch and the main volume key, so I probably should take those out and clean them. I will do that at a later time, since that's not going to be terribly interesting. Oh, yeah, I missed a screw. Alright. That's why you don't yank on the board, to ensure every screw is out. In my earlier days, I was a little bit less patient. Make sure there's nothing. Okay. That is likely my problem with these. Now, oh, even one of these stuck to. That looks like. I think those buttons actually work though, but you can see further just dust all over this board, but more of the scratchiness of the tracks. These short little switch throws, but these have multiple detents, and I think these are the two that I have a problem with, and they look pretty shitty. And notice the LED on the board right here, which I got to be careful of. I don't see any obvious corrosion or anything like that. Just lots of dust and dirt, and it comes right off on your finger. So, and they don't look like they're supposed to be metallic necessarily. I will probably get some dielectric grease. Interestingly enough, this is a Yamaha XA933B2/3. So if you need a specific board for a PSR-22 keyboard, it's the XA933B2/3. I find that amusing. Very sort of flimsy, but very neat and clean. Look at all of the specific little resistors, and they may not be resistors. I may be speaking out of turn. Can macro, is it? Yes. I think they're resistors, but I could be totally wrong. Like I said, I'm not an electrical engineer. I'm a hobbyist who's willing to learn. But yes, more switches, more ball bearings. I'm probably not going to take those out right now because I really don't feel like chasing after ball bearings at the moment on camera. I'll probably take them out off camera and go from there. But there's some really neat technology behind these. It's neat how they crammed so much functionality for a cheap keyboard. I don't know what one of these would have retailed for. I'm thinking this particular one's probably in the $200 range, but I could be mistaken. It looks like this thing came out in 86, 87, especially considering the range of when the OPL2, the YM3812, was popular and cutting edge, I guess. Interestingly, it looks like it's missing a screw, unless this is is it a main screw? And interestingly enough, this screw out can, one of the longer ones. Is this a screw that we've removed? No, it's not. Somebody's had this open, or somebody was screwing with it, because that, unless it popped out and that was what was sitting on this speaker right here, it was this. All of these are loose. So that's a problem. It's missing another one right here. This whole side is loose. So, fun stuff, and I mean, I've taped myself doing this. I didn't remove those. I made sure not to remove any of these yet because I wanted to do it in sections. These two here appear to be tight, but who knows, in 30 odd years they may have come loose. 29, I think, in the case of this. 1986, that's 30 years. So that's quite a long time for a piece of technology like this. I think it's, for what it is, it's really neat. And I want to restore it. So I will get a retainer for this to hold that down. I'm sure I can find one in my myriad junk pile. I'll remove these and give them a thorough cleaning to see if I can get functionality back from whatever key is bad over here. I mean, I'll clean them all off, obviously. Clean all these switches and all the switches over in there. I probably won't remove these buttons, although I wanted to get some close-ups of the thing, and I don't think that's going to happen now. Because if I turn it over, it'll all just spill out all over the place. Unless I put those boards back in temporarily, but then the switches won't be there, so it will look stupid. So, this is what happens when you don't prepare. You end up holding the bag, so to speak, I guess. So, this is the end of part 1 of the PSR-22 keyboard teardown and repair. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 2 and further cool stuff on TechThings.